Now, right now, as I'm doing this video, ladies and gents, NIO just gave us their Q3 earnings, and boy, I must say the earnings came pretty sharp, pretty solid, pretty good. Because as seen on the screen, the gross margins for NIO for Q3 were sitting at 10.7%. Vehicle margin came at 13.1%, which is something that is amazing, pretty exciting to see NIO gross margin coming back to double digits. I mean, you will know that we have been struggling to see or to get to see NIO coming to double digits. It has been over a year NIO struggling to hit double digits in terms of gross margins. You will know that last year in Q1 NIO gross margins were sitting at around 1.5%, and Q2 1%, and we struggled. I think the most we did last year at a certain point, I think the highest was like 8% gross margins. This year Q1 gross margin came at 4.9%, Q2 gross margin came at 9.7%, and to see now our gross margin increasing by 1% to 10.7%, it is something that is pretty exciting, something that is amazing. Like I say, to see NIO getting a gross margins of double digits. Now, the guidance which NIO gave for Q4, boy, I must say it's pretty exciting. They issued a guidance of between 72 to 75,000 deliveries. You will know very well that NIO total deliveries for October, which is the first month of Q4, they generated total deliveries of 20,976, and therefore this guidance of between 72 and 75,000 just simply means that NIO, ladies and gents, will be able to generate on average 26,000 deliveries. I mean, when we look into the higher guidance of 75,000, NIO should be able for NIO to get there. They need to generate an average of 27,000 now in November and December. And whereas when you look into the 72,000, for NIO to make it to the lower side of the guidance, they need to be delivering 25,000 now in November and in December, which is pretty good, which is pretty exciting. So this is what we read, this is what we saw. I mean, total revenue generated, NIO saw $2.66 billion worth of revenue, which came a bit shorter than what analysts expected. But when you look into the earnings per share, NIO managed to beat that which analysts were expecting, because they reported a loss or an earnings per share, adjusted EPS of 31 cents, which is better than the 33 cents which the streets were expecting. So this is good, this is massive. I mean, net loss for the quarter was 721 million total net loss, which that again still shows you that the net loss is still very high, of course, but thank God NIO is improving in terms of gross margin. Thank God NIO it's doing very well, and the guidance they are giving out, it's showing some very good improvement. The net loss was 721 million, which shows that NIO is still generating some huge loss, which of course with time this shall improve. So the cash and cash at hand is still sitting at 6 billion, which is something that is good to see, or NIO showing that they are still pretty fine when it comes to the cash at hand they have, which is bullish, which is massive, because I think cash at hand for Q3 was below 6 billion. To see it coming to $6 billion, I suppose it's a good thing. It's a good sign for NIO. Now, CFO made some pretty interesting comments about NIO, saying that starting next year, their three models are poised to embark into a robust product cycle projected to elevate company sales and volume to new heights. He said we expect this momentum to drive continuous improvement into company's operational and financial performance. This is what the NIO CFO said, which is bullish, which is massive, to know that next year there is going to be a robust product cycle, which is expected to generate more sales, bringing some good sales into the company, which will lead into the company generating, of course, some good revenue, some massive sales. Now, the CFO again touched something, saying that with continued Now, the CFO then continued and said, with continued expansion in sales volume and steady improvements in gross margins, our free cash flow turned positive this quarter, which is what exactly I was saying just now, to say that cash and cash at hand increased this quarter. I mean, it was better than the $5.7 billion we saw in Q2, like I said, which is good, which is massive, and it shows NIO's continuous improvement when it comes to their financials, their earnings. So what do you think about these earnings? I mean, other sales, these are the sales that are generated from charging, battery swapping station, and other services of NIO. NIO saw other sales getting to $281.6 million, which is an increase of 19.2% from the third quarter of 2023 year over year, and an increase of 11.9% from the second quarter, which is something that is pretty exciting. This is where now your battery swapping station services, charging infrastructure services, and other sales that NIO generates from anything other than selling cars. These are your NIO lifestyle products. These are your subscriptions that NIO is offering for their clients. NIO saw a 19.2% increase of those other sales, which is something that is pretty exciting. This is very important, or the reason why I touch other sales is very important, because we need to monitor this, because this is what I think we will see NIO at some point generating more of these from other sales, because infrastructure like battery swapping stations, you will know that the more they sell their cars, is the more battery swapping station they'll be able to deploy, which will lead into more revenues, and therefore other sales. You need to closely monitor this. I do not think we have seen other sales hitting $281 million, and seeing them reaching this, it means that whatever NIO is doing, man, it is working for them. It is something that is pretty exciting, and I don't think some people are talking about this or realize what NIO just did here. Other sales just hit 281. I do not think NIO has ever hit this value since their existence on other sales, which this is good, this is great. But here's the bad side of the story, right? Though with these bullish earnings, massive earnings that NIO just reported, the market, NIO share price is down 4%. Pre-market, as I'm doing this video, which is the exact same thing that we saw when Xpeng reported their earnings yesterday. But this is not the end of the road. NIO is a company which is doing exceptionally well. When I told you guys that any number over 70,000 deliveries as a guidance for Q4 will be bullish for NIO, or it's a good number, some of the investors or retail investors were saying it won't be possible. NIO won't be able to sell over 70,000 deliveries, which, knowing now that we've got a guidance of between 72 and 75,000, you and me can agree that blue sky is coming, man. It's just a matter of time. And what the CFO said, this is just the beginning. What we are going to see next year, it appears that some of the investors are not ready. But I tell you, blue sky is coming. Long term will win. Hang on onto this stock. But of course, if you want to sell, you can do that. Go ahead, because anyways, I'm not certified to give you financial advice on what to do with your holdings. But as for me, I think these are great earnings. I think we can expect great things from NIO. Gross margins have improved, and already from the month of October, which is the first month of Q4, we know that gross margins did exceptionally well based on the additional 100 million they were able to generate, though they sold over 16,600 cars. This is what the NIO CEO told us, and therefore gross margins for Q4 will even be much better than the 10.7% we saw NIO reporting this quarter. So tell me what you think, man. Blue sky is coming. Let me not waste any more of your time. Do your own DD. Go access the earnings yourselves on the NIO website. Otherwise, I'll try to remember to put the link on the description below, so that you can go and browse through what is it that NIO reported for this quarter. Because what I just gave you here are just the summaries, and which I think it's enough for the new investors. What was mostly important was the gross margins getting back to double digits, which we got, and of course the guidance to be good, which, knowing that NIO is average, it's expecting to deliver 26,000 now in November and December on average. It's something that is pretty exciting. And knowing NIO, they've got tendencies of delivering more than what they give in terms of guidance, and we might see that, because that is what we saw. In fact, for Q2, the Q2 guidance they gave, NIO smashed it, which is something that is pretty exciting. And I will not be surprised if we still smash this guidance which NIO just issued today. So do your own DD, man. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click the notification bell. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.